right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
A lot of drought in a lot of places. Imagine what duck season would be if it wasn't for Ducks Unlimited.
Imagine looking out your window and you see a dude walking down the street in his underwear with a hammer. What are you doing?
I'm calling Paul Pelosi.
Are you?
Yeah. You're like, Paul, listen, there's a guy coming. He says he knows you.
Even in San Francisco, you don't think that's normal?
No, that's probably how he got under the radar.
You think so? Just walking around with
Yeah,
shit?
he's like, fuck. But I mean, you got to walk past two dudes shitting in the street. Like, what's a guy wearing with a hammer in his whitey tighties belt?
You think?
Yeah.
With us today.
The day in the life.
With us today.
Yeah, it's a day in the life.
From California, Mr. Chris Costa. Did I pronounce it right? Is it Costa?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got it.
And
thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
We're excited to have you.
Where in California are you from?
I'm from the Central Valley, so away from all that Bay Area bullshit that they got going on there. We're actually in ag land right here, so pretty much dead center of the state. Pretty much, if you drew a line north and south and east and west, we're pretty much dead smack in the middle. So
if in your neighborhood, if you saw a dude walking down the street in whitey tighties with a hammer, it would raise some suspicions.
We're calling somebody.
Yeah, I'd say that'd raise a couple red flags right there. Now,
not in San Fran.
San Francisco and the Bay Area, no, not so much. That guy, if that guy gets complaints, they'll start throwing some, prejudice, bullshit, whatever the hell it is.
Well, they are calling him a MAGA now
he
because
is a MAGA guy.
There's no doubt about it. When you're a BLM supporter and you're a nudist and you are all for progressive stuff, you only become a MAGA when you whack your gay lover upside the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
Then they try to make it into a MAGA deal.
Jeff said the windows were busted out from the inside. A third party let him in. Paul Pelosi called for 911 from the bathroom.
And said a friend of his.
Supposedly. Said a friend of his?
Yeah, called a friend. Never said, if some random fucker breaks into your house, underwear and a hammer, you're not going to say it's a friend. You're going to say, come get this crazy bastard.
Right. It all makes sense, Have you been to San Francisco lately?
So I was in San Francisco 2 years ago, and I told myself that was the first and last time that I'm going to go back here. I mean, I've been to San Francisco prior, but the last time I went a couple of years ago, it was horrible. We went down to take my daughter to this candy museum out there, and my parents wanted to go. They wanted to get a hotel and stay the night, and it was like, they wanted to go out to dinner, and it's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon in December, and we were walking to a restaurant just a few blocks away from the hotel, and we were literally stepping over people on the sidewalk. It's unbelievable. You got people shitting in doorways on the street. They don't give a damn. That place just needs to fucking fall off the map.
What shocks me about this whole thing is nothing you said surprises me at all. What shocks me is the people that have been there for 30, 40, 50 years that accept this shit.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, You park a tent in my front fucking yard and you're going to be a homeless there. You're going to be a wet, miserable fucker because I'm going to turn my sprinklers on every day. I'm going to mow my yard and weed eat every day. I'm going to be a freaking biggest asshole till you get your shit up and you go. And it just shocks me. In Seattle, I saw this in $1 million, $2 million homes on the water. And then in the front yard, it looks like a commune. And those people don't care. And they care, but they're too big of chicken shits to want to say anything.
Absolutely. That's it. And they've got so many fucking protections these days, It's like, I don't, between that and illegals and everything like that, it's a fucking disaster out here. San Francisco, Portland, I've only been in Portland one time in my life, and I will never go back to that city. I don't give two shits.
If you took
same bullshit.
If you took a map and you took an outline and you drew and you said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bust off from north of Minneapolis, about 50 miles north of there, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to go east of there or west of there about 50 miles, and I'm going to get all of Nebraska, all of Oklahoma, all the way to Oklahoma, down to West Texas, skip fucking Dallas. I can have that shit and go out towards towards the New Mexico border and cut up and like Montana, Idaho and stuff. And you said, this is going to be free America. We're not going to put up with all this bullshit. We're going to have laws. We're going to have rules. And we're going to put up a 20-foot fucking fence, and we're going to shock the shit out of you if you try to come over that fence. More people in this country would want to move to that part than to live in these other shithole places.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look at everybody flooding over to Idaho these days, driving up the price over there.
But the people that are leaving there, a lot of them are liberals. That's what's funny. The liberals like Austin, Texas, they leave the shitholes, and then they want you to take their same policies on.
Yeah. You're like, listen, no, that bullshit needs to fucking stay here as far as I'm concerned. It's like, if you want to leave this state to get out of, being taxed to death and all that kind of shit away from the liberal bullshit, then, hey, that's fine. But don't bring your liberal logic or whatever the hell is going on through your brain over there to these other states and polluting all that kind of shit. No, you leave that where you left it. Basically here in California.
There's a legit group of people trying to change and make Western Washington and Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon to move into Idaho. There's a legit group of people. And California, there's a big section of that Northern California part wants to get the hell out of there too.
Send us to Nevada.
Absolutely. The Jefferson, the Jefferson state. I mean, that was a big push here.
I don't blame the people. So, I mean, what's bad is I know a lot of really good people in the LA area, good people, conservative people, just me, but they're outvoted and they're outnumbered now by all these goofy lunatics. Mm-hmm. But back to the underwear hammer guy. That is the funniest thing, how they're trying to make him out to be a Republican or this MAGA supporter. You know what? If he was a MAGA supporter, hey, then fucking lock his ass up. That's where he deserves to be. But he doesn't deserve to be in jail with no bail because they don't want bail out there. But for some reason, this son of a bitch ain't getting no bail.
Right.
He was wrestling with another dude. How many people in San Francisco got arrested for wrestling with another dude over the weekend with assault? And I bet none of them are in jail still.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny how Paul Pelosi's DUI has just magically just slipped under the radar. It's like, what the hell is happening with that?
Who was with him in the car? They say was it another gay prostitute?
I have no clue. All I know is they're trying to sweep that one under the rug, deviate from all that bullshit that's going on. It's a joke.
Now, you just graduated from law enforcement, right?
From the police academy. I graduated October 2020.
So, but you haven't got a job yet.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Not in this fucking state.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, I've got my own opinions on it. And I can only speak for the people who I graduated the academy with. A few of them were some good people, but a lot of them, there ain't no way they should come anywhere close to law enforcement. And apparently these days you can fail the academy and still get picked up as a reserve by a police department, no problem. And it is absolutely ridiculous. When I showed up to the academy, so I went in later. I'll be 32 here in a week or so. So I went in at 29, older. I played high school football, was a 4-year linebacker and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm a fairly competitive person, been involved in the outdoors all my life and everything. And we show up there kind of during orientation, and our head range master says, hey, how many of you guys have firearms experience? I raise my hand and I look around at the 36 people that are in my class, and I'm the only one that raised my hand. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what in the fuck did you guys think you were signing up for?
Yeah, no shit.
And so obviously, I mean, that paints a huge target on my back because I'm the only one that has any type of firearms experience. Our range master, she took a little getting used to. Retired motorcycle cop at one of our local cities here, and pretty much a hard ass, but she was good. I liked her at the end of it. And I mean, I'm 6'4", 225 pounds, so it's kind of hard for me to blend in with the crowd, Right. And man, I mean, she was on my ass like fucking hotcakes. Jesus. And it didn't help that like I hunted and everything like that. So she used the mottos all the time. She called the Remington 870 police issue that I was shooting. She's like, "Oh, you're not shooting your Cadillac out here, And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And she's like, we're not hunting. You don't have to stand. Don't stand sideways to shoot. And I'm like, listen, lady, I got it. I understand. We're in the police academy here, but so I went through a college campus through the police academy. So I with college these days and everything like that, God forbid you yell at somebody or hurt their feelings. So it was very much pampered in a way, unfortunately. And I was telling some of these people, listen, when you're out there on the street, you're dealing with parolees and everything like that. You're dealing with people who want to kill you. Mm-hmm. So if an instructor can make you cry, or if a fellow cadet can make you cry and scared, this isn't the line of work for you at all, period. You're just talking about a lot of soft individuals who shouldn't be police officers, in my opinion. So, we're in the service of public safety. People aren't calling the police because they're having a good day and they want to say, oh yeah, here's some donuts, here's some coffee, thank you. No,
right.
They're calling you when shit's hitting the fan and they need somebody to protect them. And if these people can't do that, then they shouldn't be in law enforcement, period.
How many of them got jobs as cops?
Well, I'll tell you, the bottom of the barrel of my academy class has been hired on.
Really? Like with big departments, or just some of these smaller places?
No, with departments. Apparently you can have a drug history a mile long and still become a police officer out here in California.
Huh.
So have you applied at some places?
I've applied to probably 32 to 35 different agencies here in the state.
Wow.
And nobody's called you in for an interview or anything?
Oh, no, I go down and interview. Last December, I went down and interviewed with Fresno Police Department, and Fresno is a pretty big city. They've got like over 500,000 residents of the city and all that kind of stuff. Big, they've got probably 30,000 gang members in the city. It's
sounds like a wonderful place to live.
Oh yeah. And went down and interviewed with them, and actually ranked number 1 after interviews. And I was thinking, okay, cool. Well, as soon as HR got my application, I got a thanks but no thanks letter.
What?
And I was, yeah.
Who's blackballed you?
That's a great question. I mean, I've never been arrested. I've got a clean background. I've got halfway decent credit. There's nothing that says that I can't, or that I shouldn't be a cop. And I'm all for people who outperform me or do anything as far as that aspect goes. I mean, that's how I was always raised to be a competitive person. So it's like, if you beat me, right, more power to you. But if roles are reversed, it's like, come on now. I mean, I'm a 6'4" straight white guy, if that says anything.
So you think that's got more to do with it than your performance?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, nowadays it seems like all these agencies are scared to be the next, George Floyd case or whatever like that. And if you put a, 5'2" Hispanic female
she's getting
on the news, yeah, you start changing the narrative on things, and a young small female shoots a black guy for whatever reason, that's not going to make the news.
Do you think if you was a flaming homosexual, you'd have this job?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was actually funny. My buddy just recently bought a backhoe from a guy who was actually a retired sheriff's deputy, and he told me, he's like, oh dude, he's like you're playing the game wrong. He's like, go do some heroin and tell him you're gay. You'll be hired on real quick.
I'm non-binary.
So back before, a long time ago, when I was younger, to get a job as a gay police officer, you had to join the Village People. So nowadays they're actually wanting to hire those guys to be cops, is what you're saying. You need to go to a different state then. That's sad.
Will your academy training, will it hold up in another state, or you would have to become a peace officer in that state, I guess?
No. So what they do is they look at California training. I went through the extended academy, so I actually paid to go to the academy on my own. And with COVID and all that shit, I ended up going for about 11 months. So basically, other states will look at your training and see if it is acceptable in their state, if it meets their requirements and everything like that. So, but yes, that is the game plan to move out of state here next year.
Where are you going?
Nebraska.
Nebraska. I know a guy there.
They're looking for straight white guys to be cops there, I bet.
A lot of them.
Yeah, I'd say they are.
Yeah.
So, outside of being going to be a police officer, you're a waterfowl guy, and you've hunted with the counterfeit Mexican John Manny Manuel, the Hawaiian, and you and John are friends. So, I want to know this: how bad is the public hunting in California right now in the water situation? How bad is it? As bad as advertised or worse?
Fuck, it is. It's horrible. It's horrible when we have water, let alone in these years that you've got refuges throughout the state that are shut down. I mean, and, I think that's the thing that's not really portrayed very much by California waterfowlers. You start talking about these guys out in Kansas, Nebraska, whatever like that, and they're saying, oh, man, the march is crowded today. There's 2 other trucks in the parking lot.
Right.
And being from California, it's comical because it's like these refuges allow on, 100 and some odd people sometimes, depending on where you're at. You've got guys, if you're hunting like a designated pond or a blind or something like that, you've got guys around you at 150 yards all day, let alone if you have free roam, you've got guys crowding in on you 60, 70 yards trying to set up shop.
Now, so it's different on different places. There's blind setups and then there's free roam is what you called it?
Yeah, so it just depends on the refuge. There are some refuges have blinds, some refuges have assigned ponds, and some have free roam, and some have all 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends. We're allowed to put in for reservations at the beginning of the season. They draw like 14 days in advance to just give you like some stats. I think your odds of drawing a reservation in the Sacramento Valley is less than 2%. Down here in the grasslands, it's like less than 3%. A small little refuge like Little Dry Creek that's pretty popular around here, the odds are like 0.34% as far as drawing.
So
Jeez.
you got all these public hunters wanting to hunt and everything you can't get on. What's the situation with the water right now? Are they letting these big rich private clubs, are they letting them pump all their water and not pumping others, or are they shutting them down too?
Yeah. So some of the big clubs definitely have water. I'm actually fortunate to be on a club down south in the grasslands down here. It's been in my family since 1929. It's not a Taj Mahal by any means, just a bunch of blue collar guys that like to duck hunt. Well, I mean, if you call killing teal, spoons, and ringnecks duck hunting,
that's duck hunting.
Fuck it.
That's duck hunting.
Yeah. But we actually flooded up. There's probably about 35 to 40% of the clubs down in the grasslands that are flooded. Up north in the Sacramento Valley, you've got some clubs in the Butte Sink that have water. A lot of those rice guys, though, they don't start flooding up until like after Thanksgiving.
Well, are they going to let them, or are they going to shut them down on water restrictions?
It's just going to depend on whether or not they're well fed or not. The Sacramento Valley is in rough shape right now. So on a normal year, there's about 500,000 acres of rice that's planted. This year, they're talking anywhere from there was 210 to 250,000 acres planted. Basically, the whole west side of the Sacramento Valley is all fallow field. They left those unplanted. So they're not going to flood them and everything like that. So basically, when the migration hits, all those birds are going to be pushed over to the east side of the valley. And who knows? We get a lot of specks, a lot of snows that come down, and I'm curious to see how quick those birds feed out those fields.
What I'm curious about is the wealthy people, the hypocrites in our society that want to control everybody else's stuff. Are they going to have water in their places when other guys are shutting down? Because if it's a true water problem, that's what I'm saying. Are they going to be able to pump their stuff? Because it's easy that they do that.
I would imagine so. Like in the Butte Sink, I think the last time that I saw a membership in the Butte Sink right there. So the Butte Sink is basically like surrounded by rice. It's all natural habitat. But the last time I saw a membership for sale a few years ago, it went for like $1.4 million for a seat.
Though those guys
Wow.
that are paying $1.4 million for a seat are going to try to pull every string they can to make sure they have their water.
Oh,
pump.
absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying. That's going to be a major issue right there, because the left government doesn't want people hunting anyways. But the left government's got a lot of them old boys or good old boys that do hunt some, and they want to act like they don't. Are they going to be able to put water on their place? Because if you give them water, then everybody should have that access to the same water if it comes from that same spot. And that's what's going to be interesting this year in California is, are they going to cut it off? Now, you told me, did you grow up as an almond farmer? Is that correct? Or your family
Yes, sir.
does? Now,
Yes,
y'all
sir.
use a lot of water to make those almonds, right?
Yeah, and that's the big
Right.
debate around
That is.
here.
That's a huge debate in our country right now.
How much water to give the almond farmers?
The almond farmers. Now, I'm going to speak out of turn on here because I don't know much about almond farming at all.
We got an expert, so he can correct
So
you.
I want you to fix me on this. But the water has been taken away from produce and other things to go to the almond farms. Is that correct? Putting you on the spot here.
Yes and no. Around here, we've had a lot of guys pull out, say, like vineyards and everything like that. And even up north in the Sacramento Valley, turn rice fields into, so I call them almonds. I'm here from the Central Valley. That's what we call them around here. I know you guys all call them almonds, so I'll just refer to almonds. Anyways, a lot of guys pulled out vineyards and everything like that to plant almonds because the price was so good.
What's an almond tree bring in?
So on a good year, I think last year we did about, what was it, like $2.46 a pound? And we did, what did we do? We did like 4,200 pounds an acre last year.
What?
Quick, Jeff,
that's
quick,
$10,000.
quick, Jeff.
That's wait. You said $2.46 and 4,000 acres, 4,000 pounds. Is that what you told me? That's $10,000.
About 4,200 pounds an acre last year.
About $10,000 an acre. Is that? Am I doing my math right?
Yeah.
Okay, $10,000 an acre. How many almond trees do you have on an acre?
Just depends on how closely planted they are. So, like the orchards that we have, they're spread out a little bit just to give room for the trees to grow. All these new orchards going in, they're stacked in there like firewood. I mean, and you're going to shorten the overall life of the tree. You know, you might not get your 22 years of production out of a tree, but so I mean, you might get 15, maybe 18 if you're lucky. But I mean, these things are so tightly planted these days. Some of these guys are getting 46 to 5,000 pounds an acre.
But how many trees are you putting in an acre?
Depends on how.
Oh God, I'd have to go out there and
Individually count
and measure. I'm not sure offhand.
Each tree producing 40 pounds a year.
Oh, I'd say at least that.
Okay, if they're doing 60 a tree, each tree's worth $150.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You know, when I was in Michigan, I know, or upstate New York, the apple orchards were not like what I was expecting, like you'd see before a full tree. They were almost like grapevines or grape vineyards. They were just stuck so close together, and the tree grew straight up in the air like a pine tree with all the apples on them. They didn't have big branches and I'm assuming that's the way they groom them and stuff, because it was just different looking than what I thought it would be like. So I'm assuming they're doing the almond trees the same way.
Usually like apples and cherries, they'll come through with a topper and trim the tops of them. That way guys can get in there with ladders and everything and actually like pick the fruits and all that kind of stuff.
So that's what they're doing with there. So the almonds, so an almond tree is worth $150 a tree. You can put a lot of trees in an acre. That's pretty good money. So at $10,000 an acre is what you're making off of your almond orchard. So if you have 100 acres in there, you're making $1 million on 100 acres of almond trees. Right?
Yeah, that's obviously that's before fertilizer costs and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But
so you're making a profit of about $350,000 for 100 acres.
Yep.
Yep.
Give or take.
And so that's why people are getting the hell out of the cucumber business and getting into the almond business.
Absolutely.
And so how does this work? So the California decided, okay, we're going to reallocate some of the water from these big farms, and we're going to give it to the almond farms. Is that what happened?
Almond guy buys them up.
Well, so a big problem up in the Sacramento Valley is that down there in LA and everything like that, they're paying those rice growers more for their water than they would be if they went in there and planted a rice.
Yeah, they're buying the water.
So you've got all this water that these ranchers are allocated, and they sell off their water for the year and turn a higher profit than they would if they were putting rice.
Yeah,
in there.
I know a guy that's got a ranch in New Mexico, and they sell their water to Portales or one of those towns, and they make more money selling water to that city than they could. They stole the ranch basically. They bought a 10,000 acre ranch, but they didn't buy. They hunt it, but their big money maker off that deal is selling the water up in the mountains to the cities, and that goes on, and that's what's happening out there. Is a guy's going in there and making $350,000 profit on his almond deal, so he's offering a guy up the road that's growing 100 acres of just some kind of vegetable, and he's giving him money he's buying his water rights is what he's doing, and they've bought up most of the water in those big areas, and then the cities are buying the rest of the water, so there's no water left over for nothing but almonds and people. Correct? Yeah,
basically. It's they've come a long way as far as irrigation and everything like that. Like micro drip irrigation, and to try to minimize how much water these trees need. But like down south, past Fresno, Tulare County down there, my uncle was actually just at a PCA meeting, and they were saying that the almond guys down south are only going to be allocated like 2.5 acre feet of water next year. And I believe these trees take, I think, a minimum of like 6 acre feet of water to really produce.
So they're going to cut them down to nothing.
Oh yeah. They're going to cut them down. And I know the state's been trying to meter ag wells out here. They've been trying to get on properties and everything and meter wells, but I guess they've got this new technology, this new satellite technology that can go over the top of an orchard, and it will read how much basically like evaporation and moisture is coming off like the leaves and everything. And so it'll be able to calculate basically how many acre of feet of water that orchard is receiving. And if you're over your quota of water, they're just going to find the shit out of you.
What? That's how it is in Nebraska. See, I know Nebraska. I'm going to get the inches wrong, but I want to say it's like you get 15 inches of water.
I think you're right.
And if you go over that, they take that off of next year. So like Blake, if he wanted to water his corn, anything over the 15 inches, he would just get docked on that pivot the next year. So a lot of these guys, and it was dry in Nebraska this year, so they were over. And if the drought persists, it's going to be hard for these farmers to go in with anything other than like wheat or something, because they're not going to have the water allocation to bring up a crop.
What my other question about the almond trees is, what can the almond? Do y'all have freezes where y'all are at in the almond trees?
Depending on where you're at in the state. So like this year, Northern California, like Butte and Glenn counties and everything like that, the almond guys up there took a hit, right? Like during like the bud time. So that'd be like right around like February or so, they had a freeze come in and really damaged their crops pretty good.
So they can't stand a freeze.
The almond trees.
The almond trees can't handle a freeze then.
Not during like the bloom and everything like that.
I was thinking about getting in the almond business, Andy, is what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I understand.
I got 20 acres out here. I'm thinking that's $7 million fucking, or 25. That'd be I was off on my math a little bit. That'd be about a $70,000 profit probably. So, but anyways, that's what I was thinking. I'll put some fucking almond trees in, and
everybody's fighting over this water. Well, you got the almond guys, you got the rice guys are selling to the almond guys. The waterfowl hunters are fucked.
So the rice guys are actually selling to like LA.
Yeah.
They're not even selling to the almond guys.
They sell the water to LA. So how much of this, how much of these water issues that California is in now, how much of it is just from like everybody trying to serve their self-interest?
Mismanagement. It's ridiculous. I mean, you've got the like the environmental groups wanting to protect the fish. That's a big fight right there. You've got like native tribes and everything. Like, so up north on the northern part of the state, you've got the Klamath Basin. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about it up there. Well, dry, fucking bone dry. You know, and that's what was that, like the first national wildlife refuge in the nation or something like that. Vital to the Pacific Flyway. Fucking dry. I know CWA, California Waterfowl Association, purchased water from Oregon farmers, but yeah, it's not enough. So basically our water comes in, it gets sent out for fish and smelt and whatever the fuck these fish need. So it goes right out to the fucking ocean. And then we've got, like the California Aqueduct and the Delta Mendota Canal that run from the California Delta here. And those go fucking straight down south, down to LA for their water. So you've got fresh water being sent out of the Delta. You've got farming for water that's allocated or that is allocated towards farming. You know, it's just it's a disaster. It's a mismanagement.
It has been for years, but I still don't understand. And we're gonna have to get somebody on here. Why in the fuck do we not take some of that Ukrainian money and put it in desalination plants? I do not understand that.
I have no clue. I have no fucking clue. That's what they need to do.
I've heard that San Diego or Los Angeles County has 5 of them, and they've just turned them off. I don't understand why.
And then the California coastline is so popular, or whatever the fuck it is. You know, you got these multi-million-dollar homes and properties that go on the coastline. You know, and it's like the last thing these people want to do is put a desalination plant fucking right there on the coast and be an eyesore for these Hollywood fucking big shots that want to live in Malibu or
cut their
something
fucking
like that,
water off. But to me, it's a simple fix. If desalination plants work, and I don't know what there's a reason why we don't have them in places, especially with the drought. And I don't know if it's the cost, but if it's a cost deal, if I can take the Ukrainian money, like I said, there's plenty to build all kinds of them. But you ought to be able to build them and pump enough water that Los Angeles can provide their own water through desalination, and then let the people naturally, the rice farmers and stuff, have their water. But the farmers is his worst enemy on some of this shit. Because if you got a guy up there that's farming 5,000 acres of rice, he's like, listen, Los Angeles is sending me a check for $3 million and I don't have to do shit but sell them my water. He's doing his own self in by doing that. And I don't blame the guy. I mean, it's like these solar deals on some of these farms. They're going to pay guys $1,000 an acre. Well, if you're getting $1,000 an acre for solar panels, sign me up for that shit, because that's better than farming is.
Especially when we just had fertilizer prices. I don't know about you guys out there in Texas, but we just had fertilizer prices this last year go like over 300%.
The guys can't afford that, and so I see why they're selling their water rights, but if the government really truly wanted to fix some things, they could build a canal system in the western part of the United States, and they could use desalination plants to help do it with the snow runoff, and they should be a good deal. What's going to eventually happen is the city of Las Vegas is going to run out of water. It's going to happen. I mean, Lake Mead is going dry, and when that happens, they're going to have to come up with something else. But that's what's going to happen before we take the steps to use some common sense. And the desalination plants, I've just never have understood why that is such a hard process to do, unless it's just cost so much to build one.
I think it's the push to almost commercialize farming,
right?
They
to get the little guys out.
Yeah, get the small guys out, control the market. You know, you look at Bill Gates buying all that fucking property in the Midwest. You know, what the fuck is he doing that for?
Get us all eating fake meat.
You know, that's a place to hang out and have his fake boobs.
This says in 2016, California passed the desalination amendment, which tightened regulations for intake and brine disposal. Proponents of the desalination contend that changes have been onerous and are slowing the march toward a desal future. So basically, California came in and made everything. They did what California does, and they overregulated.
They fuck shit up. So that's what it is. Let them. This sounds horrible, and I've got lots of good people in California that I think the world of, and this ain't meant towards them. But let some of them little liberal fuckers, let them drown or go without for a little bit. That's the answer.
Yep.
But you know what'll happen is the uber wealthy, they'll just move and go somewhere else. They don't think about the little people. You know, it's not an Austin deal. They may go to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho or somewhere. They've got the means to get in a plane and fly somewhere, private jet, and do that stuff, or fly and go and just pick up and leave. The person that lives in LA that works for a living, they can't do that shit. And I just don't understand where we've gotten so far liberal that we're hurting ourselves.
Brackish water cost $1,000 to $2,000 per acre foot to desalinate. And I don't know how much an acre foot is.
I have no idea. How many gallons? Why don't they give that in gallons so the normal person can figure that shit out?
Maybe they're Canadian. They like doing shit in liters also.
I mean, you pay, what's a gallon of Ozarka water cost? $3?
I don't know, Jeff.
So, you know, if you're going to tell me it costs
I drink mine from the tap. I'm not one of these hoity-toity guys.
You don't drink from the tap. You got a fucking filter on it. So don't act like you're drinking just fucking water.
It's from the fucking tap.
First of all, we got a water expert. Andy's on the water board here.
I'm not a water expert.
But you should be. You're on the board.
Our lakes are good.
When I was on a board, I tried to be updated of everything going on. I could tell you what an acre foot of water would be.
Our lakes are good.
I'm embarrassed that you don't even know what an acre foot of water. Let's say an acre foot of water is 2,000 gallons. If it's 2,000 gallons, it's $1 a gallon. That's pretty damn cheap to give somebody water to be able to eat and survive with if you need it.
I'll fucking do a quick Google search and they'll tell me.
How many acres you think? How many gallons are in an acre foot of water, you think? 20,000 gallons?
No, way more than that. 325,000.
So we're talking about a penny a freaking gallon. Boy, that's fucking expensive right there.
That's what it says here. 325,000
gallons. It's
actually 326 it's closer to U.S. liquid gallons.
And you said it was $2,000
an acre foot.
2,000 an acre foot would be 16 cents a gallon or 1.6 cents a gallon. I can't do my math that much. I'm kind of slow right now.
You're slow.
I'm getting old.
You take your medicine, Jeff.
I think it's 1.6 cents a gallon. I think is what that is. It would be 1.6 cents a gallon. Yeah, that's fucking real cost problem right there. Would you not pay 1.6 cents a gallon to be able to water all your almond trees?
Well, Jeff, he's a white conservative. Of course he would.
Yeah. And he's straight.
White, straight conservative. Yeah. Police officer, that 2A. Of course he would.
Yeah.
So do we need to get a gay white cop?
They're just trying to price this out here. I mean, I don't know what rent looks like out there for you guys, but I mean, for a piece of shit apartment here in the Central Valley, I mean, you're looking at, $2,300 a month for rent for just a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. You know, it's just I can't stand it. I can't.
And you've grown up there your entire life, haven't you?
Absolutely.
But see, people like y'all are what's fucking the rest of the country up. I'm gonna explain to why. Not being the white straight guy, because if you were gay and black, I would tell you the same thing is. But y'all sell your shit out there for 4 or 5 times what it cost here, and then you come and you buy a house here, and then you want to bring your gay black shit on us, and that's not fair to us out here now.
Yep.
So, but
absolutely.
that's where it's trickled down to, because people will put something for sale out here, and it'll sell for way more worth its. And they'll be like, "Why does it cost so much?" Somebody from California,
they bought it.
Well, like here in Manteca, I mean, this is, like I said, this is like Ag Central and everything like that. Homes here, when the economy was up just a few months ago, we're going for 6.5. $600,000
for how big? A 2,000 square foot home?
Fuck, I wish. Like 1,300.
Jeez.
Like it's unbelievable what the pricing has done out here. And like when I went back to Nebraska in May, and I was driving around with a realtor, and there were some nicer homes in the area, and he was like, "Oh, the doctors and lawyers live there," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "How much are those homes going for?" Like, $350,000, $400,000, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
I'll take two of them.
But yeah, exactly like what you guys were saying. It's just they're selling their piece of shit home here for a stupid amount of money, going out of state and driving up the cost of everything else out of state.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody from West Texas moves to California and buys a place.
They don't.
I'd be looking at fucking tent. I'd be one of them fuckers living on the streets in L.A. and
Maybe
stuff.
that's what it was. Everybody's trying to.
I left a 3,000 square foot home, beautiful, completely redone. Where you living at now? Fuck, I traded it in for a Coleman tent.
See, but the market has crashed. It hadn't crashed out here, but it's fallen off a lot. It's not hot like it was because
Joe Biden's in office.
Well, yeah, obviously, but there were a lot of houses, and like you could see when that spike had happened because everybody was listing their house for double what it was worth, and you're like, "Yeah, motherfucker, this house you bought it for $25,000."
Here, home prices have dropped about $10,000. You know, everywhere else in the country they've dropped about 70, 80,000 at least. Right. You know,
I had somebody quote me a price, or I had a guy quote me a price on my house the other day that's worth about 3 times what it's probably really worth. And I told Michelle, and I said, if we could sell it at that price, we'd be fools not to sell it. But where the fuck are we going to go? Right. Because for me to build my house would cost me more than what, but fuck, more than that. For me to replace my house square footage and size. Now we don't need it much space.
Yeah, y'all are getting older.
Yeah, and I would do a metal barn deal.
Yeah.
And is what I'd want is a barn dominium out in the country where your mother don't want to live. But the point is the deal is for me to sell my house.
Be sure when you do build this, put handrails on a lot of places.
Because we're getting that old,
well, you know, you're getting a little bit older, and I don't want to see you slipping and falling.
But for me to replace my house, even at what the price I did, for me to build another place, it would cost me more than what I could get for mine right now because the materials has gone up so much. You're quoting me prices in California, they're looking at $500 a square foot to build a house. Yeah. I mean, that's freaking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it ain't how much does it cost to build a house now if you hired somebody to do it? Because I know who would be doing mine.
I don't know. I'm out of that game. I'm out.
So you're not wanting to flip houses no more?
Not in this market, Jeff.
Yeah.
You got to buy the dip though. And I understand that.
The dip's coming.
I think fuck, I don't know how much more can it dip. That'd be a dive.
It could be.
We're at the dip. Anything lower is a fucking dive.
Well, things are still expensive.
Well, of course they are. So what? I mean, when does y'all season open? Are y'all already open?
Yeah, we're open. We opened October 22nd.
And then, what are these birds going to do? Is it still too early to tell?
It's all up in the air. We had a decent early push of green wings, surprisingly. But yeah, it's going to be up in the air to see what they do as far as what happens once they hit the Sacramento Valley. You know, it's like I was just talking to my buddies the other day, and it's like, are they going to push out of the Sac Valley and go towards the Delta, towards the islands out there and start stacking up in the corn? Or are they going to blow through the Delta and come down to the grasslands and stay down there? The problem is, like, down in the grasslands, we don't have the ag fields that they do up north in the Sacramento Valley. So I don't know where all these birds are going to feed at.
Right.
So that's concerning. Or do they just say, screw it? They come through the Sacramento Valley and say, hey, there's nothing here for us. And, you know, do they bounce east? It's one of those things to where it's all kind of up in the air. You know, I'm really curious to see how the Sacramento Valley shoots and how the rest of the state shoots. You know, we've got like the Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge, Delavan, Colusa are closed right now. Sutter's closed. Bear Creek down here in the grasslands is closed, but that's pretty normal. They shut down like the Gadwall unit, the Kern Refuge down south. You know, and some of those are projected to open here November 19th, but it's all dependent. It's all dependent on rain. We've had rain these last couple of days here, but you know, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with these birds?
What's crazy to me is, and I've not been doing this as long as Jeff, but I don't ever remember this much uncertainty surrounding so many different areas of the nation. Like if you look at if you look at the Central Flyway, like basically anything from South Dakota on down, nobody really knows what's going to happen there. Your area, I mean, is it just, and I guess Missouri, is that about the only place that is feeling good about what they have right now?
Probably so. And I think it's when you get to, Logan told me the other day, Kansas City area is very dry, or wherever he's at. He's north of Kansas City, but he said we're really dry where we are right now. And a lot of places are.
But I don't ever remember a time that so many people, there's always been regions that have gone through droughts, but I don't ever remember it being basically from Missouri all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Everybody's like, where the fuck are our birds going to go
in 11, was it dry everywhere, or was it just?
I think it was just in Texas.
Because that's what I don't remember. I don't remember it being that way. But with social media today, we're all interconnected.
Yeah, we see more.
Now, 11 years ago, we still were pretty well connected. But I don't remember in 11, North Dakota, Montana, so many places being in a drought that are in a really bad drought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get in North Dakota right now, I don't think it's that bad dry-wise. But you get from Kansas, Nebraska, it's drier in middle of Kansas and Nebraska than it is here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had some rain. We've got green wheat everywhere. The wheat looks nice.
Right.
And we're supposed to get another half inch to an inch and a half of rain on Friday. We've gotten good crop rains in the last 2 months. We just never got the big runoff rains. Them places up there haven't had any crop rains even.
No. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be one of those deals. And I don't even know if the people that have water, if they're going to shoot well this year. You know, it's just, I mean, I hope so, but yeah, it's just one of those things where I guess we're just gonna have to sit back and find out.
I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I'm too anal. What? How did?
And
go ahead.
You know, like the nice thing I'd say about, and I never understood this until I actually went back to the Midwest and drove around and did all that kind of stuff. But you know, like with you guys out there, there's a big emphasis on scouting, right? You know, drive around, scout the birds, and do all this. Well, out here in California, we don't have that luxury to scout birds.
Get what you get.
Well, not just that. It's like on what you guys would call like a WPA out there. We call them refuges here, but we're not allowed on those. Mm-hmm. We have to check in. We have to get a refuge pass that we have to pay for that shit and everything like that. And they just don't let us go walk out there just to fucking scout birds. And we can only hunt Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays on these properties.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's a different ball game out there. That's for sure. What made you settle on Nebraska? The people?
Because I wanted to go fucking hunting ducks. Don't tell my girlfriend that. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this shit.
It wasn't about college football. That's for sure.
I know this is a little premature, but is she coming with you for this big move?
Oh boy, Andy, you can't believe you put that up.
Yeah,
she's coming with you.
What if he'd have said, "Well, I haven't really told her that, or I haven't decided that yet"? You'd have put him on the spot.
I just said that's going to be an awkward conversation to have.
She's like, "Why can't I listen to that podcast?"
Originally I was thinking Montana, but Californians have ruined that fucking state with the prices and everything like that. That's why I didn't want to go to Idaho. Washington and Oregon, fuck those places. I mean, you know, east side of Washington, good people out there, but as a whole, no, forget it. Nevada's too much like California. I don't do the desert like big old Johnny out there. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So Arizona, New Mexico, even Texas is out. I'm out. Too many Californians out in Texas. Oklahoma and Kansas, forget it. Utah, no thanks.
Why not Utah? So Utah's pretty.
No, I'm cool off Utah. I need to be able to buy beer at my local convenience store if need be.
Do you think John ever gets mistaken for a Mexican like every day, 100 times a day out in Arizona?
Oh, he's got to.
I wonder if he speaks Spanish very good.
He should just carry a fucking pineapple with him everywhere.
Well, everybody think he's his wife swapper then, or a
swinger.
A swinger.
Yeah, he's just man. I tell him all the time. I was like, dude, I don't know how you do it out there in that fucking heat. No, forget it. I'm out.
Counterfeit Mexican living in Hawaiian, living in fucking Phoenix.
Where are you looking at in Nebraska?
Looking around like south central part of the state, like around like Minden, Hastings area.
You know,
okay.
You know that's it, right, Andy?
Yeah, Cabela's.
Okay. You know where that's at, right?
Yeah.
South central
Andy
part
has
of the
no
state,
fucking
Jeff.
clue. That's by Blake.
Blake's on the west side, Jeff.
Hastings or Sydney is west of Blake.
Jeff.
See, Andy
Blake
has
is in
no
Colorado.
geography lesson at all. Knox City does not teach geography for shit. My wife.
So you're looking at the west side of the state, not the south central side of the state.
My wife's the same way. We were going to go North Dakota and South Dakota one time. I wanted to go look at a place. I was thinking about putting an operation in up there and was going to go look at some places. She goes, "Do you think we can run by Green Bay when we're up there?" Oh yeah, it's just 1,200 fucking miles away. You know, we can drive by Louisville, Kentucky. Also, it's not. You know, so Andy's the same boat
Hastings,
here.
Nebraska is not by fucking Blake.
Sydney.
He didn't say Sydney.
Yes,
he said
did.
Hastings.
He said Sydney.
Well, you're going to Hastings. You're not going to be anywhere near Blake.
Okay. What about Sydney?
You're going to be straight fucking north of Kansas.
What about Sydney?
I haven't even looked at Sydney.
Sydney is west of Blake a little bit.
They're all good people out there, though. You're going to be around like-minded people. Great people. I'm glad you're taking your California girlfriend because, you know, who knows what you're going to run into in Nebraska.
So now you're going to rip on Nebraska women now too, boy. Andy wonders why people don't like him on the podcast.
Other than Penny from The Big Bang, she's like the only hot chick to ever come from Nebraska.
What about Blake? One of your best friends got a fiance from there.
I don't think she's from Nebraska. I think she's an import.
Yeah. You've opened up such a can of worms. But Penny was a hot Nebraska chick. I'll give you that. So,
and yes, I know it's fake. She's probably from California.
What about South Dakota? Well, yes, that's a show. You know, it's kind of like Scooby Doo.
I don't want people messaging me. Oh, she wasn't from fucking California.
South Dakota and North Dakota would be two cool places to live. Also,
too cold.
South Dakota would be all right. North Dakota, fuck. It's a whole lot of nothing up there. I've hunted ducks and geese.
You're moving to fucking Nebraska.
Yeah, but if he goes to Hastings, he'll be right in the middle of it all.
There's nothing in Nebraska either. Once you get outside of.
Oh God, there's all kinds of shit out there in Nebraska. Yeah. I mean, shit. That town of Kearney alone has fucking everything I'd ever need.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, go to Hastings. You right by Grand Island. You got it. You're good.
Yeah.
Lincoln's right down the road.
Fuck those shit. I'm out. I'm out on Lincoln and Omaha.
That's might as well stay in California.
You might as well stay in California if you're going to go to those places.
Exactly.
No, and I mean the hunting's going to be great. How is your girlfriend originally from California? Ooh.
Yeah.
You're taking her to a landlocked state. She must love you.
Well, you know. Perks of
6'4", 225, good looking white guy with a beard, nice beard.
That's right.
What's not to love?
She'll be all right.
What's not to love? Yeah, it's crazy what has happened in such a short amount of time to California. I mean,
it's not a short amount of time.
Well,
it all started with fucking Charles Manson and all them fuckers that hate Ashbury in San Francisco.
The exodus has happened all at once, slowly at first, just like Dirk said. How did this happen? Slowly at first and then all at once. They've slowly just grinded you down and now everybody's just, fuck this place, I'm out of here.
Yeah. And then I had to stay west of the Mississippi too, just because, again, primary move, ducks for one. If I can't kill ducks out there, then fuck it.
Makes
I'm
sense.
out. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to go east of the Mississippi. I know there's some good people out there, but it's, again, you got a lot of Californians going to the Carolinas and all that shit too now. You know, it's like, no,
I'll tell you, really cool places. We just come back from upstate New York, and over the years, everybody I've known from upstate New York loves it.
Yeah, but that's just the same as California, only colder.
No, upstate New York is not. Upstate New York is like being in the Dakotas, the way that everybody's like-minded and stuff.
Jeff, being where this guy is, everybody's like-minded.
It's still New York.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not as bad as like where it is with you are in California. It's not as bad there.
Oh, you don't.
Matter of fact, there's a chance they're going to elect a Republican governor in New York next week.
Well, they had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jeff.
That motherfucker ain't no fucking red conservative.
He had an R by his name.
Well, he might have had R in his name, but he probably had a D in him. He's a sorry fucker.
Have you ever met him?
Don't give two shits.
Have you ever met him?
No.
He might be the nicest guy that you've ever met. And you just called him a sorry bastard.
Yeah.
Number one, you better hope his buddy Stallone doesn't hear this shit and come looking for you.
That sawed off fucker. You know, he's got a new show coming out called Tulsa Time. And it looks like the guy that does the creator of 4 Sixes has got it. And he plays a mob guy from New York that goes to live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, let me tell you something. I watched the previews of it, and it looks really good. I just can't believe they found that many fucking midgets to be in a show because he looks like he's a big guy in there.
Tulsa Time?
Yeah, I think's the name of it. Or Tulsa or something.
Yeah, I seen that advertised the other day.
He plays
Tulsa King.
Tulsa King, you know, all 5'3" version of his ass.
Well, Jeff, I'm telling you.
It looks like a good. Have you seen the trailer? It looks like it'd be pretty interesting other than that bunch of fucking liberals.
You know what I saw the other day? Everybody loves Yellowstone. It is a direct knockoff of Legend of the Falls. I did not realize this.
I don't know. I have not watched any of that. And they've got a new one now.
But the storyline is the exact same.
Well,
you got Anthony Hopkins, who's basically Kevin Costner. He's the old dad that runs the ranch. You've got one son who goes off to war, comes back, and he battles a lot of things. That's Brad Pitt and the one kid. You got one son that is kind of a fuck up and he runs for political office. And then you've got one son that dies at the very beginning that starts everything.
Well, not only do we have, is it 1883? Is that the one that's coming on?
Right.
Now they've got a 1918, I think, and they're going to do a 1938 and a 1957. That guy is going to pop into every generation to make shows. Every one of them.
All he did was watch Legend of the Falls too many times.
Well, the newest one, I forgot who's in it. The newest spinoff of there, and it's some big actors and actresses. I know who Harrison Ford's in it.
Right.
Is in the new one, but I haven't watched Yellowstone since season 2.
That guy still make a movie.
That's right,
Harrison
baby.
Ford.
That's how bad it is. You got to get the old. There can only be one Clint Eastwood. The rest of them I'm done with.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So what's your forecast for waterfowl hunting for California this year? You going to have a good year or a bad year?
What's your gut tell you?
My gut tells me that we'll probably do okay. Like last year, dealing with similar conditions, I finished with, 133 days last year. I finished with 180 ducks. I bet you it'll be,
Nice.
somewhere around there.
What about those turkeys? What are those? Those look like Rios from the tips.
Rios, yeah. I've got. That's my passion number 2
You
behind
have
waterfowl.
Rios there?
So. Yeah. Oh yeah. We've got Rios and Merriams.
Like co-mingling, or you got to go up into the mountains for the Merriams, and you have Rios where you are.
Sometimes you'll get them to co-mingle, but for the most part, the Merriams are staying up right. High. But I mean, shit, we've got Rios all over the place around here.
Now, are you getting those on like private land, or are you going public for those also?
Both. Just depends on what I want to do. I killed all 3 this year with my bow.
Nice.
So, that's cool.
That's what I'm holding out for.
Bow?
I'm gonna be a bow turkey hunter when I become a turkey hunter.
There you go.
I just got a funny message from a guy. He said he listened to our podcast and we talked about shitty ER docs, and I don't know when that would have been, but anyways, he said his wife, they have a 3-year-old and was sick, hadn't slept in 2 or 3 nights, and she took him to the ER. And the doctor really didn't look at him. She goes, I'm really concerned. He's not sleeping at night. The doctor gave her a pamphlet on being a better mom, and it was her 3rd kid. That would fucking piss me off. I'd be ready to strangle that little bastard.
Those are fucking fighting words right there.
There's a pamphlet. You probably just need to work on being a better mother.
Just read this. Feed and water your kids. He'll go right to sleep.
Give him a couple Benadryl. That'll knock his ass out and he'll sleep better.
Are y'all's turkey numbers pretty stable?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing all right. I mean, they're coming down into the cities and everything like that. I mean, shit. This last year, I think a mailman beat the shit out of one, and had to. I think U.S. Fish and Wildlife or game wardens got involved to make sure it's fucking justified or all kinds of shit. He is. But yeah, they're fucking everywhere around here.
Well, that's good.
Turkey numbers are decent.
I think Nebraska will be good. Nebraska will be a good turkey hunter.
You're moving to a good state, bud.
Yeah, you got everything. You got everything you look for there.
Are you taking a woman with you?
Yeah.
So
now our deer herds out here aren't worth the fuck, but it is what it is.
Yeah, fuck that.
If you really want to kill something in Nebraska, and get a hold of Alex Poppy. He's the Poppy brother that knows how to hunt real well and kills a lot of stuff.
If you want to hunt, go with Blake. If you want to kill shit,
go with Alex.
Yeah. You got it's 2
Yeah.
different things.
And follow Blake around, and you can pick up a bunch of shit he loses. So you help yourself out.
Yeah, if you just followed Blake, you could have got a brand new nice bow.
Yep.
You just followed him away from his deer stand. All right, bud. Listen, good luck on your move. Have fun this waterfowl season,
Appreciate
and we wish you the best. And we're excited for you.
Yep.
Getting out of that fucking communist state.
I can't wait. I've been counting down the days. Like I said, I wanted to move since I was in high school, but I was young, dumb, full of cum, and ended up having a kid in high school. So, it is what it is. But her mom just took off and went up to Oregon. So I was like, here's my out right now. I told her, I was like, you've got a choice. You can either go to Oregon or come with me out to Nebraska. So we'll see.
Well, just think, if he's gay or transgender, you could have got a job as a cop. So
That's
there
right.
you go.
You could have been paying that high rent for the rest of your life. This is the best thing that could have happened
That's
for
right.
you.
There you go. Well, thank you, man.
That's
we
right.
appreciate you being on here, and thanks for listening to us. You have a good day, and God bless you.
Thanks.
See
Appreciate
you,
it.
bud.
Well, can you believe they don't want to hire straight white cops?
I can believe that, actually.
Yeah, I can too. That's what's sad. It's a horrible deal.
I can believe that.
Well, we're fixing to have our first guide meeting.
We are.
We're fixing to sit down. Most of the guides are here. We start hunting this weekend. Should be a really good season for us starting out. Hopefully we'll get some winter in December, because I don't think we're going to get much before Turkey Day. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all, and have a great week.
Go check out our wonderful sponsors. Listen, if you're looking for a new four-legged friend, a new pup, go check out Double T British Kennels. We've actually got 2 down here. They're going to hunt all season. Ducks Unlimited, Dirty Duck Coffee, Big Honker, save 15%. Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Bangtail Whiskey, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Hunt Proof. Go set you up an account. Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Shin Gear Waders, Gundog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, BHP 25, 25% off, Boss Shot Shells, and Dive Bomb Industries.